It was East versus West in MLS this week with 7 interconference matchups. Orlando's perfect home record was put to the test against Peter Vermees's Sporting Kansas City. The New York Red Bulls had a streak of their own to protect with the LA Galaxy in town. But we start with the team of the moment. Toronto FC are absolutely flying. 5 consecutive wins in just 20 days had them on top of the Eastern Conference standings. Next to take them on, a resurgent Minnesota United.
Ibarra playing it inside, and there's the goal! Minnesota leads!
Mike Sewell had the call.
Sheru, pushing it out wide to Raheem Edwards. It's a clumsy challenge by Danladi, and the referee has pointed straight to the penalty spot. Abu Danladi lunging in. Giovinco against Shuttleworth. It's a 6th goal of the season for the Italian. All of them have been scored here in Toronto. Edwards loses possession. Molino onto Ibson. Across to Miguel Ibarra in space. Ibarra! Good save by Alex Bono. Ibarra spotted a gap, but Bono denied him. Ibson forward to Danladi. To Molino. Chance for Kevin Molino, who equalises for Minnesota. 4th goal of the season for Kevin Molino. Bradley with the free kick. Puts it into a dangerous area, and Toronto have retaken the lead. Mavinga celebrates. It was his pressure, but I think it was Ramirez's final touch. Ibson with the corner. There's Calvo. Blocked by a defender, but the referee, Alan Chapman, has given a penalty for handball by Raheem Edwards. Molino against Bono. Saved by Bono, but the follow-up is away, and Minnesota equalise again, and it's Molino once more. Bradley driving Toronto forward. Vasquez to his left. Plenty of options in the middle. Altidore denied, and Bradley unable to follow up. Good play by Vasquez to cut it back to Altidore, and Birch blocked it with his right leg. Here's Altidore. Passing his way through the Minnesota defence. He's managed to plough a furrow. 2 options in the middle. One of them is Ricketts! Tosain Ricketts was the match winner in Columbus 3 days ago. And again he's on hand. Sheer determination from Altidore. Toronto make it 6 wins on the bounce.
The part I liked most was when the game was on the line in the last 25-30 minutes. We went for it, and ultimately go for it in a way where there was only going to be one team walking away with 3 points.
Orlando had been rock solid at home this season, with 5 consecutive wins in their own backyard. So Sporting Kansas City arrived with a tall task ahead of them. However, Latif Blessing helped them settle in early, just 9 minutes in. Blessing's first MLS goal and his first MLS start. If that was a shock to the Orlando system, normal order was soon restored. In the 16th minute, Kyle Larin knifed in to finish off the Carlos Rivas cross. Orlando's seemingly ageless wonder, Kaká, continues to impress. The Brazilian, actually 35 now, has scored his fair share of beautiful goals. And you can add this one to the list. In the 26th minute, they might have put the game out of sight in the 71st. Kaká to Luis Gil, who slipped in Laren, but Tim Melia smothered the opportunity to keep SKC in it. They went further. Blessing had enjoyed only limited opportunities this season, but the Ghanaian made the very most of this one. On his toes again to complete his double, to cap a fine first start of the season and come to his team's rescue. Orlando City thought for a moment they had nabbed a game winner a couple of minutes later, but Jose Aja's goal was waved off. The corner kick ruled to have gone out of play, so the game ends in a 2-2 tie. The first points dropped at home for Orlando this season. The Seattle Sounders, who had only lost one of 11 meetings all time with Chicago, threatened to take a third-minute lead at a sold-out Toyota Park. Nicholas Ladero's deflected shot, an early indicator that Sounders coach Brian Schmetzer might be in for a long night. The award of a penalty by referee Nima Sagafi for this challenge by Tony Alfaro on Nemanja Nikolic was vehemently protested by Schmetzer's players, who felt Alfaro cleanly got the ball. The controversy didn't end there. After Stephen Fry had saved David Akam's penalty, Sagafi ordered a retake due to encroachment. The same thing happened to Akam the previous weekend, but unlike last time, he declined the chance to take it again, instead allowing Nikolic to score his 6th goal in as many games. The Sounders didn't sulk at their misfortune, though. In fact, they responded almost immediately. Clint Dempsey with his first MLS goal against the Fire since 2005. That, though, was as much celebrating as Seattle would do. 15 minutes into the second half, Akam scored his 3rd goal in 4 games to restore Chicago's lead. Then they took it a step further in the 73rd. Nikolic's intention may have been to score, but his outstretched touch set up Luis Solignac, who got a favorable deflection, and that made it 3-1 Chicago. The nature of the victory moved from comfortable to convincing within 3 minutes. With the Sounders' defense in disarray, Nikolic claimed his 2nd of the game and 8th of an outstanding debut season. In the closing moments, Seattle's miserable night was compounded by the sending off of former Chicago defender Jovan Jones for a 2nd yellow card. The victory for his old club made it 4 wins and 5 at home for the Fire. Side by side, struggling to find their stride. Portland, soundly beaten at San Jose their last time out. Atlanta, 3 losses in their last 4. The tension showed. 2 high-scoring teams shackled in a goalless first half. But less than 30 seconds into the second, Atlanta was celebrating Julian Gressel's first professional goal. That silenced Providence Park, but the home fans didn't have to wait long to rediscover their voice. Liam Ridgewell on hand, and his team back in the game. And they weren't stopping there. Portland poured forward in search of a winner. Alec Khan's goal led something of a charmed life. The Timbers carved out openings, but Atlanta stood tall. There was still time for an even closer shave, but David Guzman struck, well, timber. But after recent results, both sides probably content to take a point. Jesse Marsh's team was back at Red Bull Arena, where their unbeaten regular season record had now surpassed a calendar year. Their opponents, the LA Galaxy, arrived having fought back to earn a point against the Chicago Fire last weekend.
Alessandrini plays it in, the header scores!
Commentary comes from Dan Roebuck.
Whipped in by Alessandrini, goes straight in. Van Dam will try to claim it, but I think Alessandrini will claim this one for himself. Whipped in brilliantly by the Frenchman. It is his 5th goal of the campaign. And Alessandrini again will curl it over to the left-hand side. They're queuing up inside the area. Alessandrini again! Terrific stopper! Has it gone in? It has! The referee has given the goal here. A little bit of confusion initially. Alessandrini with a thunderous effort that Robles got plenty on, but it spun back into the corner. Kleshtin drops into a pocket of space. Wheel over on that right-hand side. Right foot, it's one side. Oh! Did he get something on it, but not enough? It seemed that way. Always had to stretch. Just couldn't supply the finish. It's just 7 wins in New York for LA Galaxy. Only 1 regular season win in the last 7 years. One in the playoffs back in 2011. Jallo, it's a bit awkward. Alessandrini might do a little bit better. Penalty. Grella intervenes illegally, and Jose Carlos Rivero points to the spot. Giovanni Dos Santos to make it 3. His second from the spot this campaign sends Robles the wrong way, and LA Galaxy lead at Red Bull Arena by 3-0. Jallo under pressure. He's still going, oh dear, now then he's going to be in real trouble here. Well, 89 minutes on the clock. This is just silly from Bradley Jallo. Your side's winning 3-0. You're on a yellow card. This is obvious stuff to us watching from the stands, but maybe not to him in the heat of the battle. Three straight defeats this is going to be. Lawrence with a low ball in, and it's sliced into the roof of the net by Roya. Gulbranson nearly got the first touch. Roya does. The clean sheet has gone. Full-time score here. New York Red Bulls 1, LA Galaxy 3.
I just feel a little embarrassed just by my own performance, by our team's performance, our entire disposition towards that first half. Apologize to anyone who had to pay to watch that. Apologize to our season ticket holders. That's just not the type of performance that we should ever put on display when we're at Red Bull Arena.
In Montreal, the Impact began a 3-match stretch at Stade Saputo. It had new designated player Meram and Crew at their disposal. They faced the Columbus side who, away from Montreal Stadium, hadn't scored in 204 minutes. Could Mauro Biello lead his side to back-to-back wins for the first time this season? With the call, here's Dave Farrar.
Good turn from Meram, the dangerous Meram. Looking to tee it up for Mane, it's Meram! Terrific strike, Justin Meram with his 5th of the season. And finally, they do have a goal away from home. And Columbus Crew in front early on at Montreal. Oh, it's given away. It's Higuain. And if you're going to try that, you'd better score. And that could end up being a big moment in the game. Now Adoro. Picked off by Mensah. Now he won't have too much quality in this part of the field, and I think he proved that, but it breaks for Meram, and Meram's in for number 2. Justin Meram with his 2nd inside the opening half hour, and Federico Higuain can breathe a huge sigh of relief. The Crew have 2, and they're in command. Played quickly now to Adoro. Great first touch, and he's so unlucky. Montreal have come out fast, and they very nearly got a goal back. Here's Piatti. There's Adoro to hold it up. Huge chance, and they have their goal. Piatti. Montreal right back in it. as their start to this second half deserves. And now there's noise at Stade Saputo. Adoro is onside. Mensah's trying to get back. This is Dominic Adoro. He's got support. He finds Tabla. Just didn't keep his head. Rushed the finish. Another chance for Montreal. Goes begging. In it goes from Blerim Jamaili. He's done it again. Super sub with the equaliser. Jackson Hamill and Montreal come from 2 down. They're both still pushing for the win here, potentially. Justin Meram cruising forward, 3 against 2 here. And it's Meram for the hat-trick and for the win. It is Justin Meram's day in Montreal. The impact came from 2 down, but the Crew steal it right at the end.
For 2016 Coach of the Year Oscar Pareja, so far so good in 2017. A quarter of the season gone, FC Dallas still unbeaten and aiming to keep it that way as New York City FC came to town. Things remained on course 20 minutes in thanks to Kellen Acosta. Dallas was looking to finish it off. 8 minutes into the second half, they nearly did. Instead, Maxi Urruti, thanks to Sean Johnson's glove, shook the goal frame. But it only seemed to stir New York City. They regrouped. Suddenly, they were revitalized. First, Jack Harrison unsettled Dallas. Then, midway through the second half, David Villa's free kick hit the frame. Tommy McNamara crashed the net to tie things up on, incredibly, New York's only shot on goal in 14 attempts. At the other end, New York City keeper Sean Johnson made several big saves, but FC Dallas remained the only MLS team without a loss this season, an unbeaten streak of 14 stretching back to last year. A depleted Real Salt Lake team didn't appear affected by their injury woes or even the 2,000-mile trip for their meeting with the New England Revolution. But by halftime, they would be feeling more than a little weary. There were only 4 minutes on the clock when Scott Caldwell converted his first goal in 2 years. And by minute 18, RSL found themselves 2-0 in the hole. Kai Kamara, who'd missed 2 Revs games due to the arrival of his second child, celebrated in the traditional way. Real Salt Lake almost pulled one back before halftime, but New England keeper Cody Cropper protected his goal from a header by Joao Plata. Mike Petke's side had lost their previous 3 matches, and even as early as the 34th minute, number 4 was looking likely, as Diego Fagundes tapped home Kellen Rowe's cross to make it 3-0. 4 minutes before halftime, the Revs inflicted more misery on RSL, Lee Win making it 4 with his 5th goal of the season. The visitors did manage to avoid conceding after the break, thanks in part to goalkeeper Matt Van Oekel, who kept out Kamara's replacement Femi Hollinger-Jansen. The damage, though, was done in the first half as the Revs cruised to a 4-0 win. Celebrating the 5th anniversary of BBVA Compass Stadium, the Houston Dynamo faced a Vancouver Whitecaps team that had won both of their last 2 road games. With 5 home wins in 6, the Dynamo were building quite a fortress, but Honduran Romel Quioto wasted an early chance inside 30 seconds. He'd soon make amends, though, supplying compatriot Albert Elise to give the Dynamo the lead. A goal made in Honduras, finished in Houston. The home side took a firmer hold in the second half, courtesy of a penalty. Kendall Watson called for the foul on Mauro Manotas, none too happy about it. Even less so when the penalty was converted, coolly by Kubo Torres. For the second consecutive game, Breck Shea came off the bench to score for Vancouver, but this time it came a little too late to save the day, or any points for that matter. So despite the late scare, Dynamo's electrifying home start to the season continues. And for the moment at least, sees them leading the way in the Western Conference. After the CJ Sapong show of last weekend, the Philadelphia Union were looking to build on their first win of the season on the road at East Coast rivals DC United. 6 minutes before halftime, Haris Medunjanin blasted home a memorable first MLS goal to give the Union the lead. Early in the second half, DC's job was made more difficult by the dismissal of midfielder Luciano Acosta. The Argentine certainly lacked subtlety in front of referee Chris Penso when lunging in on Elsinho. You could argue Acosta's coach, Ben Olsen, needed an explanation from his player for his actions rather than the officials. Former U.S. national team stalwart Oguchi Onyewu celebrated his 35th birthday by increasing Philadelphia's lead with his first ever MLS goal. On a night of firsts, Fafa Pico joined Medunjanin and Onyewu in also opening his MLS account. 3-0 Union with 12 minutes remaining. With DC stretched, Philadelphia added another notable strike from substitute Fabian Herbers. 4 different scores, none of which were CJ Sapong, and a first road win since August of last year. Nothing quite like 5 straight losses to get a coach feeling the strain, but when Alan Gordon blew the easiest of chances for the misfiring Colorado Rapids early on, Pablo Mastroeni may have been fearing the worst. But things started looking up just inside the half hour. Gelson Gashi, sluggish in the opening 2 months, tucked away his first goal of the season. Just 6 minutes later, Dominic Baji doubled the lead. Turning over the San Jose midfield, he drove forward before smartly outwitting Earthquakes goalkeeper David Bingham. The 2 goal scorers then combined to put the game beyond the Earthquakes' reach. Baji's hard work disrupted the defense before finding Gashi alone, and he did the rest for the Rapids, whose start to the season has been anything but rapid, this a first win in their last 8. And though Anibal Godoy was denied by Tim Howard, after 2 shutout wins, San Jose rather lost their way here. Despite that win, Colorado remains at the bottom of the Western Conference, while Houston took advantage of Dallas, SKC, and Portland all drawing to climb from 4th all the way to 1st. Toronto FC's hot streak has them comfortably on top in the East, although behind them Orlando City and New York City both have games in hand. Philadelphia's second consecutive win lifts them out of the basement for the first time since March. Doing it on the road, we leave you with the 3 clubs that claimed precious away victories. Hope you enjoyed. See you next week.
This copyrighted telecast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.